It seems hard to believe because we've been having so much fun, and the fun has gone on for so long, it really felt like it was going to last forever. But sadly, friends, today is my very last complete day here at Disneyland Paris. For my part, the most beautiful Disney park in the world, at least that I've ever had the opportunity to visit. And boy, oh boy, am I going to miss this place. It's the Sometimes Vlog, yeah! It's a vlog that happens sometimes. Look at this behind me. It is Disneyland Paris, and I am just gonna sit right down on the curb for a split second and admire this wonderful, wonderful view. Now, we have had a lot of fun here. We have wandered all over, including wandering down this main street several times, in all around through that castle. We saw our buddy the dragon again. We've seen, we've seen some stuff in Frontierland, we've seen some stuff in Discoveryland, we rode Autopia together, we went grocery shopping with some Germans, we went back to Paris and saw all kinds of wonderful sights and sounds and things and wonderful dealy wampus. I was able to film and edit and upload a random land from the Louvre. I can't ever say it the way the French people say it. This has been one exciting, one fruitful, one wonderful trip to France. And let's not forget about all those millions of Instagram pictures which I posted at Instagram. Live Fast Die Poor would be the name of my Instagram account over there. Lots and lots of pictures. Look at Goofy and Pluto over here. They were like just flexing their muscles. I don't know if you guys caught that. It was pretty funny looking. Look at this city hall. I don't know, every Disney park I'm in is my favorite while I'm in it, for real. Even now when I go to Florida, Magic Kingdom, which was probably the park I was the slowest to like, is like my favorite. I should say Disney park, I mean Magic Kingdom style Disney park, because the studio style parks are never really my favorite. It's always these that win my heart over. These visions of Walt Disney's come to life. The Magic Kingdom, well, Disneyland, the Magic Kingdom, and then of course Disneyland Paris, which for me, honestly, is just the most beautiful, most elaborate of all of the Disney Kingdom parks. And what I mean is, look at this. You can stick rides in any park. You can stick a ride all over. Like, think about Six Flags with all their roller coasters with like a sign that has the Hulk on it, or Batman or Spider-Man. And like, that's fun. If you're a coaster person, if you're a person who likes rides, that's cool. You can go to a county fair and get on all kinds of rides that honestly are gonna put more extreme G-forces on your body than anything to be found at any Disney park, even including Space Mountain here, which does actually give you a loop-de-loop and the corkscrew and all this cool stuff. But what's great and special about Disney, what makes Walt Disney's Magic Kingdom style theme parks so amazing, is the immersive environment. That is the whole thing which I have tried over and over again to show and to share. Look at this big curved window in here inside of Flora's gift shop over here. A reference to Walt Disney's mama, Flora. Flora. And then of course there's Elias Disney contractor signs all over the ground which say 1901. I think I pointed that out in another vlog the other day. So there's all kinds of cool references and things, but Disneyland Paris just goes above and beyond with the details. It's just so wonderful. So to me, this is becoming rapidly, I think, actually my favorite Disney park, in that I think the Imagineers took and built off of all the lessons they had learned from building the other parks and from maintaining Disneyland for almost 50 years before they came back over here. Well, 50, almost 40 years before they came here and built this wonderful place in 1992. And this lasted all this time. Look at this coffee cup smoking up here and the gas station down here. What a wonderful place this is. I gotta be moving forward as fast as I can to get as much Disneyland Paris into this little morning vlog as I can. Oh, I am so tired, you guys. My head is just full of all kinds of crazy stuff. I've been filming some Random Land videos, which means I've been doing double duty. I've been filming vlogs and Random Lands and doing Snapchats and Instagrams, and sometimes my brain just gets extra extra magical, ears full, and I cannot think of anything anymore. And that was sort of happening yesterday when I was doing all the vlogs at Frontierland. We're running around Adventureland, Frontierland, doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I'm starting to forget, like, what am I looking at? What am I supposed to be describing? What have I said or not said already because of what have I said on the other camera? It starts to get a little bit confusing. So my brain is definitely ready for a rest and going home and seeing friends and family, because on top of going full Disney and having all this different Disney stuff to look at and all this different Paris to look at. Honestly, that was a pretty crazy thing, going to Paris and then filling my head full of history of the French Revolution and the French kings and the Louvre and all this art and all this different stuff. It's very overstimulating. On top of all that, you got to figure, I have been here pretty much, I mean, not that you weren't with me, friends, but I have been here alone for, now what is this? This is March 16th or 17th, 16th. I have been here alone for 16 days. I've had friends come and visit when I first got here. The people who very lovingly brought me here were here to say hello to for one day, and then I've had my friend Euromeister to say hello to a couple days, and some people from the UK and some people from Germany. So I've had people stopping by, but for the most part I've been going into my hotel room at night alone and spending the bulk of my time alone, surrounded by a foreign language, just kind of by myself. Well, after 2 weeks of that, it's kind of like being, no, I don't want to use prison as an analogy. I don't want to be like it's being in prison, because it's totally not like that at all. People using it, see, we all do that too much. We exaggerate way too much, and we'll be like, oh, it's like being in a prison. I was in one of the happiest places in the world, one of the most beautiful places in the world that all these people dream of going to. It was like a prison. It was not like a prison at all. That's a terrible analogy. But it is lonely. It's like a weird, lonely thing. Like, okay, film this and focus on this and look at. While I'm looking at this, my heart is filled with wonder and magic, and I'm really excited. But then when I walk away from it for 2 seconds and sit on a bench or something like that alone and to rest, then it really hits you like, oh, you're alone. Like there's really no one to turn right next to and say anything to. And so, not that I'm complaining, it was super cool and I would do it again. I did do it again. This is me doing it again. And I will probably end up doing it again. It's not that, it's just that after 2 solid weeks, isn't that so cool? That's so cute. I love topiaries. After 2 solid weeks of that, it's definitely time to go home and see my family, see my friends, and see all the people that I love in my life. And I'm pretty excited to be heading back to the United States of America. It's weird though, because I feel like I am in America. Ooh, this is something I will not miss. Do you hear that wind blowing? It is 37 degrees Fahrenheit out here, so it looks warm and sunny, but as you can see, everyone is bundled up. There's all these scars. Hello! Look at, there's some friends from Germany over there, some new friends, wonderful friends and beings and wonderful beings and friends. I'm excited to go back and see my friend Adam, see all my buddies and homies, and see London for sure. But, gosh, I cannot get over this. I know we walked down Main Street together at Disneyland Paris. Seems like a million times. We've looked at this castle. Seems like a million times. But I can't help it. First of all, it's extra magic hours. We're here before the park is officially open to anyone else. It's only open to Disneyland Hotel and other Disney hotel guests. You can see they have ropes across Adventureland, ropes across Frontierland. So the only lands we can enter would be Discoveryland over here or Fantasyland. Fantasyland is my favorite of all the lands. We have spent quite a lot of time on the castle and quite a lot of time on Fantasyland here in the Sometimes vlog, so I will not be going that way at this time, even though I desperately want to. Let's take our last look at the castle, for now anyways. Our last look at the castle. I'm gonna pop back over there and take a bunch of Instagram pictures. Instagram, live fast, I pour. And I'm gonna really be trying to use my Facebook more. Something interesting happened that was not interesting at all. You guys may or may not have watched me on a thing called Periscope. Now, Periscope is a live streaming app, which is basically like, you know, doing the vlog or something, but live, and then people could comment and little comments would pop up on the screen. It was a very cool, interesting idea when it started. I feel like most people, well, most grown-ups that had better things to do with their lives, realized quickly that it's not like watching a YouTube video. It's not like an Instagram post or something that you can go back to later and watch and sort of digest at your own pace and then absorb at your own pace. It was a really obnoxious idea in practice, in that Periscope videos would pop up on the random. You'd have to watch them while they were live. Watching them on replay really wasn't the same thing because you weren't being able to comment live and do all this stuff. And then of course Periscope became sort of like MySpace. You remember MySpace was so cool, but then it started being completely full of trolls and spam and garbage. And Periscope really started screwing up because rather than thinking about the creator side of it, the person using the Periscope being able to create something and show off something unique or interesting and being able to cultivate an audience and have control over their audience, what Periscope did, and I'm sorry for this rant, they totally screwed up and started making all the features really basically geared around someone who would download the app as an audience side and go, I'm bored, what can I look at live in the world? So they added all these features like a world map that you could not take yourself off of, so you could just poke at people on different places in the map in the world, which meant that all these weird Russian foot fetishes and weird people could just go and click on anybody at any time. There was no way to hide yourself from it. The only way to make it so that spammers and trolls couldn't comment in your Periscope was to only let people that you follow comment, which is a whole messed up thing. Anyway, I was very, very careful to never tell people to share Periscope. I always use it as something to share like really personal information about, and like kind of share personal stories and have like a more of like a one-on-one type of thing with people who watch my videos. And unfortunately, Periscope stuck me in their weird trending section, and I now have basically almost triple the followers on Periscope than I had before, and now it's 2 to 1 pretty much, rather than the people that I had very slowly and carefully built up to be able to be in this cool, almost like a cool fun club where we could all hang out and talk about stuff, and I felt really free to talk about my personal life and talk about my plans and stuff like that. Now it's 2 to 1 trolls and spammers and sex robots and evil flying monkeys and all kinds of horrible stuff who come in, they use swear words, they do all this kind of stuff, and I'm really honestly not interested, and I may never ever use that app ever again. However, Facebook has come up with this thing, Facebook Live, and I'm trying to get my account verified to be able to use it, which means that I may be using my Facebook page a lot more in conjunction with that feature. So go over to facebook.com/JustinScarred and you can find me on Facebook. I know a lot of you have Facebook. I don't have a regular Facebook profile, but I have that Facebook page, and they're adding more and more tools to be able, well, to let people like me be able to use it as something a little bit more useful. Okay. Discoveryland. So I know that's super random. I don't know why I would stick down this vlog and talk about that when we're really just looking at Disneyland Paris, but I'm here to say goodbye to it. So I'm just talking about what's on my mind. You can see I haven't even left this beautiful park yet, and I'm already thinking about what's coming next. What are we gonna do when we're back in the United States? We're gonna be trying to use Facebook Live and trying to be using all this different stuff, and of course there will be plenty of vlogs. Okay, into Discoveryland. Stop thinking about Periscope, stop thinking about all this. That was very frustrating. That's very, very, very frustrating. I feel like social media websites and any website really should all be geared towards the content creators, not the content absorbers. And the reason I say that is, if you do not have good content being created on a website, and I'm not even talking about like, oh cool, hey, my name is PewDiePie, I'm a content creator. That was the worst PewDiePie impersonation ever. I'm talking about like, even for the average person, so even like your mother-in-law, if your mother-in-law cannot create good content on her Facebook page, you're not going to be looking at it. Like, if you, do you know what I'm saying? So if the site is not geared towards content creation, and there being something good to look at on the site, and there being something good to absorb on the site, why would anyone ever use it? No matter how beautiful it looks, no matter how fun the buttons are to click, you're not going to use it if there's nothing there to look at. But some people just don't understand that, and apparently the developers of Periscope are just, they don't understand. It's fine. Anyway, okay, rant over for real now. Look at Discoveryland here. No Tomorrowland at Disneyland Paris. They decided to solve the problem. And by the way, I walked around this entire place on a previous vlog, so if you go back to the Disneyland Paris playlist, I haven't put these videos in there yet, so it's all from the last trip, you can see this wonderful, wonderful land in a little bit more detail than I'm going to show to you today. But they solved the problem of Tomorrowland or Disneyland, which was that over and over and over again, Tomorrowland kept having to be rethemed and reconfigured, because always in motion is the future. How do you capture the future in a theme park? By the time you're done designing and making blueprints and building and doing all the construction and opening the place and letting a few guests into your Tomorrowland, your vision of the future, everybody's conception of what the future holds and what looks futuristic to them has already almost changed, especially now with the internet, and we have this rapid fire pace at which technology changes. How are you going to keep up with Tomorrowland? Well, in the late 80s and early 90s, when they were coming up with ideas for Disneyland Paris, the Imagineers solved that problem by creating Discoveryland, which is a sort of Jules Verne-based, futuristic kind of journey to the center of the earth. Orbitron over here, you've got the island at the top of the world ship, the, what's it called, the thing, the Hyperion. Hyperion. This is actually from a Disney movie, by the way. I didn't even know that. I'm gonna be totally frank with you and totally honest. I'm gonna be totally frank. My name's Justin, not Frank. Anyways, I'm gonna be completely honest with you. When I first came, look, there's a little Buzz Lightyear. Very similar attraction to Disneyland in Florida. More similar to Disneyland because the targets light up when you hit them, etc., etc. No, when I first came to Disneyland Paris, I thought, is this supposed to be the airship from around the world in 80 days? That's what I kind of thought. And as I got closer and saw the Hyperion thing on it, that this ship is called the Hyperion, and in Videopolis, which is this giant stage in here, just like we used to have the giant Videopolis stage at Disneyland, only this one isn't a disco, this one they use for the Star Wars show. I'm trying to pack too much information in here. Okay, calm down, Justin. The Hyperion airship right here seemed so familiar to me, and I could not place it. Like, it was not the ship from around the world in 80 days. So that's all I could think of because of the Jules Verne Association, who, by the way, was a French author, in Discoveryland. Well, I realized when I was here this time, I was like, I know that ship. It's from a weird old movie that I did not think was a Disney movie, but it turns out it actually was a Disney movie. It's called Island at the Top of the World. And I must have seen that on The Wonderful World of Disney or something when I was a kid, because, or maybe actually from this video called Best Video place, where we used to rent all these weird VHS tapes of Disney movies that honestly I think were transfers, because I don't think that most of those Disney movies came out on VHS, but we still saw them anyways. You know what I'm talking about? You ever go to like a shady VHS store back in the day? See, kids today, I'm just giving you looks at this while I think about this. Kids today will not understand. I sound so old. Kids today. I do have a birthday coming up, and I am not excited on the March 25th. Wow. Kids today will not understand that when VHS was first a thing, when a home video was first a thing, not every movie was out available for use at home. You could not watch, like 99% of movies that have ever been made could not be watched at home because they didn't make them. But there were all these shady little video stores that would either find like a 35mm print or like some kind of other print that they would actually like show old film, like for private viewings and stuff like that, and they would make these weird copies, and you'd have this whole black market of bootleg VHSs that you could rent of movies that had not been released. So anyway, I spent my entire childhood just waiting desperately for old movies to come back out. So for me, when I was growing up, seeing Robin Hood or Disney movies, it felt like I saw them for the first time when they first came out, because there would be multiple generations all seeing it for the first time as it would come out on VHS for the very first time. And in most cases, only the people who had seen the original theatrical run, they were the only ones who had ever seen the movie before, and the rest of us were all seeing it for the first time. Now that doesn't happen. A movie comes out, the entire world sees it, it's all over the internet, you have it on DVD right when it comes out, and almost nothing goes out of print really, because even if they stop making DVDs or something, or stop printing VHSs or whatever it is, you can simply either go on the internet and download it now, or you can go on eBay and find a physical copy. So it's a little bit of a different thing. But Island at the Top of the World, I think might actually be based on a Jules Verne thing too, and I know it was a movie. I can't even remember the whole plot honestly off the top of my head, but I did Google it the other day to make sure what I was thinking of. I knew it was, I thought it was Island at the center of the world. It's Island at the top of the world, it turns out. And this French captain drives this ship, the Hyperion, to the top of the world. And this is the Disney version of that thing. So it's weird. This is from a really obscure Disney movie. I wouldn't even have known that, except for that I started Googling around because I remembered that it was from a movie. I was looking, and how I remembered was not looking at this, it was looking at this little weather vane. Look at this, how they have the cute little weather vane. Hold on, can you see that at all? Right here on top of this sign, they have this little weather vane version of the ship. And that's when I was like, no, that's really familiar. So I kept looking it up, like Around the World in 80 Days ship, and looking at different movie versions, and then I finally figured out it was from that weird movie about going to the North Pole Island thing with the ice and the crashing. And you gotta watch it for yourselves, it's a trip. So there you go. Back here is Star Tours, and the crazy part about that is today is the very last day of Star Tours ever. And I'm gonna avoid going back there because I'm gonna have Snapchats and Instagrams and stuff from there later. Live Fast I Pour on Instagram, Live Fast I Pour on Snapchat. I think it's closed right now anyways, but that right there, ladies and gentlemen, today is the very last day of Star Tours operating to the public. And why that's important is this Star Tours here is in fact the original 1980s Star Tours still running. Ooh, it's so cold, that wind, which I'm sure is obnoxious to you because of audio, is so cold. My face is freezing right now. That is the original 1980s Star Tours back there, still in operation, and I have been invited, thanks to Philip from DLRP Fans, I have been invited with a press badge and everything to go tonight, so hopefully I'll be able to get a little footage of that on the ride. I was told I could film on the ride, so we'll see what can happen. I was told I could do a little footage of there of Star Tours and do whatever. I'm very excited, and hopefully when I get back home, if I have that footage, I'll be able to put that up in some sort of video form. If nothing else, I'll be able to stick clips here in the vlog. We talk about the vlog from the comfort of my bedroom where it's not freezing cold and show you guys clips from the event. But I get to be, tonight, one of the last people in the world to ride the original Star Tours. So I'm pretty excited about that. So see, even my very last day here at Disneyland Paris, packed with all kinds of crazy stuff. I kind of, in one way I lost time, if you could look at it as I lost time this time, because there were different people here saying hello, and I was spending time with different people I'd never met before, and running around Hero Match and doing different stuff. But I don't consider it lost time at all. I made some really cool new friendships while I was here, and new connections. Definitely they are going to improve future trips, especially to Paris itself with Euro, and I met those friends from the UK and from Germany. Wow, look at that. Space Mountain here is so cool, by the way. This Space Mountain is probably the best Space Mountain. I've decided that for the moment, Space Mountain in Florida is my favorite because it scares me the most. It's more like Space Matterhorn, and it's all rickety and weird. And by the way, it is the first in the original Space Mountain. For you Disneyland Anaheim snobs, Walt Disney World has the first of a lot of things, like Country Bear Jamboree, with the original is at Walt Disney World. Space Mountain, the original, is at Walt Disney World, so before you get too crazy, you might want to consider that. This one, though, is probably the best. It shoots you up this hill, you go down inside, there's a big inversion, like a big loop-de-loop in there, and there's a corkscrew where you go upside down, then one where you almost go upside down. It is a very cool ride. It's probably the best Space Mountain, but I gotta say, I think Disney World Space Mountain is really becoming rapidly my favorite. Disneyland's has got my favorite building and favorite queue, because I love that spaceship in the queue and all that. Walt Disney World has my favorite ride. This one is the best though. I will say that, out and out, just flat out, if you want like that extreme Disney ride, this one's the best. Of course here, speaking of Jules Verne, is the Nautilus submarine. This is not a submarine ride. Everyone gets confused because there was one of these sticking in a lake at Disney World when you guys had a submarine ride there, and they confuse it with Japan, and they confuse it with all these other places. Disneyland Paris does not have a submarine ride. There is no ride here based on anything. This is actually a walk-through attraction. Well, this actually here is a weenie. Walt Disney would call it a weenie because it's something that would draw visitors over to this, which is the walk-through attraction. You go through this door, down underneath the ground, and through a long hallway into Captain Nemo's ship, the Nautilus, which, spoiler alert, behind the scenes, is not actually inside of this Nautilus here. But isn't this thing cool looking? It is super awesome. Did you know at Disney World, at their version of Trader Sam's Enchanted Tiki Bar, they have a drink called the Nautilus, which is in a huge, freaking huge glass cup that looks like this. And my friend Keith and I were talking about it. I was like, oh, I never managed to go and get one, and I really wanted to get one because that was like a mug they had there that they didn't have at Disneyland. And I love all things tiki and tiki mugs and whatever. And so he actually shipped me one, and he told me it was big. I did not expect it. It's like as wide as my chest, which I guess isn't saying that much, but still, it's huge. It's huge. All right, I gotta wind down the vlog because there's a lot I want to film for Random Land, and I'm hopefully going to do things like ride Space Mountain and experience some of Disneyland Paris, I hope, today, because I really haven't had much time the last few days. I've been in Paris, and I've been filming a lot of Random Land stuff, and filming the vlogs, and going over to the Disney Studios and doing all this stuff. And I'm trying to pack in as much as I can for you guys before we leave, but I know that I'm tired. I know that I'm not quite on the top of my game anymore, and sometimes when you know that you're like running out of steam, you're running out of energy, it's time to just go, all right, I've got what I got. I got what I was able to get on this trip,
and I just got to leave the rest for future trips. Like, I could run around trying to document every detail of Disneyland Paris today, but all that's going to do is make me come up with crappy versions of that instead of just being cool and looking forward to the things that we're going to do at home and coming up with new stuff for the next time that I come here, which I'm sure will happen again. In my head, this time I was thinking, cool, I'll go to Disneyland Paris, I'll do everything that I want to do, I'll have no reason to come back, and I'll save myself the time and the trouble, and I'll save everybody the expense and the aggravation of me coming back to Disneyland Paris. And all that coming back for 2 weeks has done is basically fill my head with all these cool new ideas, like, oh my gosh, we could totally vlog this and this and this and this, all this stuff that now I'm like, all right, I'll have to come back. But anyway, thank you for joining me at our last look, pretty much, at Disneyland Paris. I'll be still filming some other things today, so I don't know that this is our very last look here at all. But my last morning, certainly, in the most beautiful Disney park of all, Disneyland Paris, quickly becoming one of my favorite places on the earth. I love you all. I will see you all a little later. Bye-bye.